Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everybody to the April 9th reorganizational meeting of the Rhinebeck Village Board. This evening we are going to have Justice Kane swear in Justice Sanchez, and then Justice Sanchez will swear in the rest of the village trustees and the mayor. John?
I'm pleased to be able to be here tonight on behalf of the village, and you state your name
I, William Sanchez,
and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
to uphold the Constitution
to uphold the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of village justice
the duties of village justice
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay.
Anybody else want to volunteer to do this?
Raise your right hand. Go ahead. I state your name.
I, James Reardon,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of village mayor
of village mayor
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. Next, please.
I state your name.
I, Howard L. Trout,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of village trustee
of village trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. I state your name.
I, Heinz Sauer,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of village trustee
of village trustees
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
I state your name.
I, Heath Tortorella,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of village trustee
of village trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. All right. All right, now, it's my turn to get my partner back.
All right.
I state your name.
I, John Kane,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of acting village justice
of acting village justice
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Judge. Good.
All right, thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you.
John.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Back here.
You're an awesome job.
Okay, with that done, I am going to call on our county legislator, Joel Steiner, so Joel can make his next meeting.
Thank you. If I promise to put it back, can I move it here so I can talk to my...
You can put it there. That's where it belongs anyway.
Awesome. I have handouts. night, we got a resolution passed unanimously for solar panels for the Dutchess County buildings. Just about the same resolution that we got passed 4 or 5 years ago. Unfortunately, nothing happened on that in the last 5 years, but I'm hoping 2013 might be the year that we have some action. Schenectady County, they have 17 county buildings with solar, and I just found out in the last month about something called power purchase agreements. I know, and I pointed out till I'm blue in the face, look at our Republicans and Democrats in the village of Rhinebeck, town of Rhinebeck that made solar happen, and this building, other buildings, Clinton, Milan, Red Hook, all over town of Poughkeepsie, both sides of the river. But with the power purchase agreements, just so everybody's aware, it's no money down. And it's guaranteed savings, 20, 25, 30% less on your electric utility bills, guaranteed. And so we're actually, I live in the town of Clinton, I went to high school in Rhinebeck. We're looking at solar for our property on Browns Pond Road. And there's no excuse not to have solar, because it's no money down. And guaranteed savings on electric bills. So there's different companies, HudsonSolar.com, Sun City, Monolith. Anyway, just hopefully 2013 will be the year that we get solar panels on county buildings. I also got about a dozen my colleagues last night signed on to a letter against the Central Hudson Fortis merger. The public comment deadline has been extended to May 1st. The Dutchess County taxpayers now spend about $793,000 each year on heating and lighting the county buildings, according to County Comptroller Jim Coughlin. And one handout I gave you is the letter that was signed by a dozen colleagues. The other handout is a copy of the Ulster County resolution. Ulster County legislature is not controlled by Democrats, controlled by Republicans, but they passed a resolution unanimously just a few weeks ago saying we need to stop this deal. They're only talking about, and even the Poughkeepsie Journal came out with an editorial February 16th against the merger. They're only talking about a 1-year freeze on rate hike requests. They're only talking about a 2-year freeze on job layoffs. The New York State Public Service Commission staff have said we need $85 million in customer and community benefits. They're only $50 million in customer and community benefits now in the deal. Abitibi is a partner of Fortis. Abitibi has already invoked NAFTA. I mean, Central Hudson is not your local utility anymore. It hasn't been for a while, but imagine, as Kevin Cahill, the assemblyman for Rhinebeck, has pointed out, imagine you're frustrated about a rate hike or job layoffs, or maybe more important than any of that, losing your service, and we can't really complain to Central Hudson or hold Central Hudson accountable anymore because of NAFTA. That's what's going to happen. That's what will happen. That's what's going to happen unless people get active. So you have until May 1st to weigh in. You can email the comments to the acting secretary for the New York State Public Service Commission. It's secretary@dps.ny.gov. That's secretary, T-A-R-Y, at dps.ny.gov. Citizens for Local Power is holding a forum tomorrow night, Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, up in Red Hook at the Elmendorf Inn, on Route 9, right next to KZE. The old Tiberius, IGA is right there. I urge people to come to that meeting if you can. The letter that we got about 12 or 13 of us to sign last night at the county legislature meeting, 4 or 5 Republicans, all the Democrats endorsing the county legislature. I'm still kind of wondering, hate to tell tales out of school, where that letter is, because as soon as that letter got to the other half of the room, it magically disappeared. So somebody needs to talk about what's really happening on the 6th floor of the county office building. That's what I've been doing for 10 years. So I'm still a little frustrated that we had so many Republicans and Democrats signing on to that letter, and then it disappeared. So anyway, feel free to contact my colleagues as to why that happened. You've been reading, I don't know why there hasn't been anything in the Poughkeepsie Journal, but a lot of stuff on MidHudsonNews.com and the Daily Freeman about the solid waste management plan for Dutchess County. There'll be, I'm sure, a big article in tomorrow's paper about this. It's already online. If you've read the solid waste management plan for Dutchess County, unfortunately, they are really pushing for trash from other counties to be burned here. That's one thing. Even with the amendments that were added last night, they're leaving the door open for an ash landfill in Dutchess County. They're also calling for an upgraded turbine and for the taxpayers of Dutchess County to share the burden for the cost of that at the county incinerator. If you didn't know, the Poughkeepsie Journal pointed out a few years ago that there's 28 pounds of toxic heavy metals like mercury, arsenic, lead, cadmium that come out of the incinerator smokestack each year. There's 13 schools within a 3-mile radius. The Dutchess County Environmental Management Council does not usually weigh in on issues like this. They did. And the EMC said that the swamp does not address the issue of climate change, the solid waste management plan. There's 3,700 tons of carbon emissions that come out of the county incinerator in Poughkeepsie every year. I'll wrap up, I know you're busy. Nyberg, a couple years ago, pointed out there's 14 times more mercury that comes out of the incinerators in New York State than the coal power plants. And there's a lot of mercury coming out of the coal power plants. Poughkeepsie Journal pointed out on November 18, 2011, the emissions from the Dutchess County incinerator still outpaced those of coal burning power plants. And they were quoting the DEC and the American Lung Association of New York State. I would also say that a legislator recently pointed out, a Republican legislator, I won't say his name, pointed out that dioxins are still part of the mix as far as the ash. Now, scrubbers were installed in the county incinerator, but there's 50,000 tons of toxic ash, and the EPA has said there's no safe level of exposure to dioxin, okay? And that the level of dioxin now in our environment is at or near levels associated with adverse health effects. Last thing I'll say is, fantabulous movie. It's called The Economics of Happiness. Thanks to Fred Nagel of Rhinebeck. I'm doing a free screening of this film this Saturday, 2 o'clock, right across the way at Rhinebeck Town Hall. Thank you for your patience. I really appreciate it. Congratulations. You guys are a model for different people working together to get things done. I'm at 876-2488. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints. My cell phone is 453-2105. I got to run to Clinton Town Hall. Thank you again.
Thanks, Joel.
Yep.
Okay, next item on the agenda, I will read the appointments for our year of 2013-2014. Rhinebeck Village Board regular monthly meeting will be held the second Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. at 76 East Market Street, Village Hall. The official depository is M&T Bank. The official newspapers are the Daily Freeman, the Poughkeepsie Journal, and the Hudson Valley News. Mayor is James Reardon. Deputy Mayor is Trustee Howard Trout. Clerk Treasurer is Lisa Biscardi. Deputy Clerk Patricia Kuhn. Assistant Clerk Christina Deneau. Attorney McCabe and Mack. Village Justice elected William Sanchez. Acting Village Justice John Kane. Court Clerk Patricia Jackalone. Water Department Liaison Heinz Sauer. Chief Water Plant Operator Tom Walbank. Wastewater Department Liaison Trustee Brant Nuniger. Chief Wastewater Plant Operator is Anthony Gasparini. Water Sewer Clerk Patricia Kuhn. Planning and Zoning Liaison is going to be a shared responsibility this year between myself, James Reardon, and Trustee Nuniger and Trustee Tortorella. Meeting attendance will be split between the three of us according to schedules. Zoning Enforcement Officer is Bob Fennell. Building Inspector Garrett Keeler. Planning Board for a 5-year term, David Miller. Zoning Board for a 5-year term, Rachel Cavell. We do have a vacancy on the Zoning Board now, as we have received a resignation from Carol Meldrum, as she will be spending much time at our other home down south. So we do have an opening. If anybody's interested, they can submit a letter of interest and leave it with Lisa at the village clerk's office. Planning and Zoning Clerk is Karen McFarland. Street, Parks, Garbage, and Recycling Liaison is Deputy Mayor Howard Trout. Street Department Foreman Michael Wolf. Police, Justice Court, and Village Hall Liaison Mayor James Reardon. Fire Department Liaison Trustee Heath Tortorella. Rhinebeck Fire Chief is Rick Dorer. Police Department In-House Sergeant Peter Dunn. Dog Control Officer Roger Newkirk. The Village Historian is the Rhinebeck Historical Society. Assessors are the Town of Rhinebeck Assessors. Tax Collector is Lisa Biscardi. Assistant Tax Collectors are Patricia Kuhn and Christina Deneau. Panda Board Representative is David Miller. Panda Board Liaison is Trustee Brant Nuniger. Tree Committee Liaison, Trustee Howard Trout. Finance and Controls Committee, Trustee Brant Nuniger. Thompson-Mazzarella Park Committee is Trustee Howard Trout and Robert Ellsworth. Website Liaison, Mayor James Reardon. Registrar of Vital Statistics is John, Town Clerk. His last name escapes me. The Town Clerk. Gautier. Thank you, Heinz. Deputy Registrar of Vital Statistics, Deputy Clerk, Town Clerk Joan Winnie. The Village Engineer is Erdman and Anthony. And those are the appointments for 2013-2014. Next item on the agenda is the Rhinebeck Commons Road dedication. Lisa, you got a resolution there? There's a resolution on that. All right, Rhinebeck Commons is a 7-lot subdivision that is up adjacent to the north side of the village green. That project was vetted before the planning board. The road has been installed, has been accepted by the village engineer and the highway department foreman. So tonight we are going to, I'll make a motion to accept dedication of that roadway. Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So voted. That is effective May 1st. Next item on the agenda, Northern Dutchess Hospital Pilot Program. Gentlemen, who wants to kick it off?
Good evening. My name is Gene Sneeringer. I am the attorney for this project. So I'm the person who really created or was the architect for creating the structure that you now have to listen to and deal with.
And you represent who, sir?
I represent the project and I represent the developer of this project in the event that this project is going to be built by someone other than the hospital.
So you represent Kirchhoff Medical Properties?
Right,
Okay.
right.
Thank you.
What Northern Dutchess Hospital would like to do is build an expansion on its campus. And this expansion would be approximately 75,000 square feet. Approximately 50,000 square feet will be occupied, which is, I believe, 2 floors, occupied by the hospital. Operating rooms on 1 floor and patient rooms, most likely single patient rooms on the other floor. And the 3rd floor, but effectively the walk-in 1st floor, is proposed by the developer to be rented to physicians. So what the hospital would like to do, and this is not too dissimilar at all to what many other hospitals have already done on their campuses, they would like the flexibility to be able to elect to have someone like Kirchhoff build and own and lease back the building, or potentially the hospital may build the building itself. If the developer were to build the building, the developer will be building the 2 floors that the hospital will be occupying, plus the 3rd floor, which will be rented to private physicians. The hospital will build its facility for its 2 floors and may also elect to build the 3rd floor, which then they would rent to private physicians. In order to provide the hospital the flexibility of really building this building in one direction or the other, what we have done and what we would like to do at this time and what we've done at other hospital campuses is effectively put the hospital as the occupant of the 2 floors that it will be occupying in the exact same position it would have been in had the hospital built, owned, developed, and occupied the building itself. So in other words, from the real property tax standpoint, if the hospital built, owned, and developed the building, it would not be paying real property taxes on the portion of the building that it occupies. And that's exactly what we want to do by having a private developer build the building as well. So what would happen is, on the hospital campus, the hospital would land lease the land for the building to the developer. The developer would own and build the building. And then the hospital will lease back 2 floors. What we've done in other hospital campuses and what we are proposing to do here is to use the Industrial Development Agency as the vehicle by which we would then enter into a payment in lieu of tax abatement. So what we're looking for tonight is for your support effectively on 2 components. So there's 2 components to the pilot agreement. Component 1, which is necessary for the project, is to support our request that we be able to enter into a payment in lieu of tax agreement with the Industrial Development Agency, whereby the hospital portion of the building would be exempt from real property taxes. So let me just stop there to see if you have, if I haven't lost all of you, and if you had any questions with respect to that. I have had conversations with your attorney, Rich Olson, on this, and I think Rich, understands the structure. So that's the number one thing that we're trying to accomplish. And again, it puts the hospital in the exact same position it would have been in if the hospital were able to and wanted to build and develop it. The flexibility for the hospital, of course, is actually it's multifold. Sometimes it's timing, sometimes it's cost, a lot of times it's financing. And so the hospital, will ultimately, on its merits, make the determination to have this project developed by the Kirchhoff companies. The second component that we're asking for relates solely to the portion of the building, which would be the one floor, that would be rented to private physicians. And so the second item of support we're asking for is for what's frequently referred to as a pilot deviation to provide for real property tax incentives so that the hospital was able to attract new, young talent to the area and to the hospital facility for physicians to come in, rent the space, and obviously be physicians supporting the community and supporting Northern Justice Hospital. So with respect to that, what we had proposed was a real property tax exemption for 7 years, and then automatically after that, the taxes would be kick in, so that it would be regular taxes for the portion of the building that the physician occupies. And so that component would be the deviation that we would ask you to support with respect to that. Any questions?
And how do you feel about the what is it, the anti-pirating part of the IDAs? I mean, because you're not going to be drawing physicians from Montreal, Toronto, and things like that. So are you going to be attracting practices from Dutchess and Ulster County?
Well, the IDA, at the point in time that we then you get the inducement and the ultimate resolutions with the IDA will be asking those very questions. At this point in time, obviously the hospital has a vested interest in the project, and obviously the hospital would be occupying those two buildings.
Yeah, I'm not asking.
But at this point in time, it's a little bit premature with respect to what physicians groups will also be going into the building. So unfortunately, I cannot give you a list, but the hospital, will have various groups that it would like to see come into the building and support the building. And your point is correct. The IDA will be asking questions with respect to anti-pirating, so that if you're stealing, if there's a group that's expressing an interest, and depending upon where they are coming from, they may or may not be able to get those benefits associated with coming in from the IDA.
Did I understand you say when you started that the Kirchhoff may be the developer?
Well, the hospital has expressed its interest with Kirchhoff companies to develop this building, and for the flexibility and the opportunity for Kirchhoff to own it and lease it back to the hospital, the 2 floors. What ultimately happens with respect to your support or lack of support will determine whether that in fact can be done, because the support with respect to the real property taxes that we're asking for all flows through to the benefit of the occupants. Real property tax exemption for the hospital is the hospital's real property tax exemption. Again, as I said, it puts the hospital in the exact same position it would have been in if it built it. What Kirchhoff companies are doing here is they're proposing to enhance the project, have this additional third floor associated with the project, attract some additional physicians to the campus, and ultimately add some real property tax revenue to the village, to the county, to the school, from what otherwise would be, a property tax exempt.
So is
Or
there
from the
potentially another proposal?
No. The only other proposal would be if the hospital would develop the project itself. That's the only other proposal.
So what's the difference between the first proposal of about a month ago and the proposal tonight? That's what I'm thinking. There's nothing-
No. With respect to what the support that we're asking for, this is the same thing that we've been discussing. There are two components to it. There's the component about supporting the hospital, and then there's the component with respect to the deviation on the private physician's fees.
Pete, you want to ask me a question? No. We'll do at it.
Can I just ask one more question? Along the same lines as Brant. With the IDA, do they require any gain jobs? Like he's saying, are you going to bring in jobs from wherever? But what if there's a local physician that wants to move in downstairs? Do you have to say no?
We don't have to say no. A lot of it will depend upon with respect to pirating. A lot of what happens with respect to pirating depends upon whether whether the physician group has the ability to stay where it is, or the reasons why they need to locate elsewhere, such as some certain expansions. The other projects which this is extremely similar to in this area would be St. Francis and Putnam hospitals did their expansions this very same way.
Can I, am I allowed to? I'm Dave from HealthQuest, and just.
He doesn't have an exclusive.
Just wanted to address part of the issue about the physicians and where they're going to come from. We've done an analysis with an outside firm. We're required to do that every couple of years to see what the physician needs in the community are. And in the Northern Dutchess service area, the study that was completed last summer, last June or July, indicated that we had a shortage of physicians. About 15 physicians were going to be needed in our community. And there was an oncologist. Right now, there's no full-time oncologist in Rhinebeck. The nearest oncologist is either across the river in Kingston or down in Poughkeepsie. There's not a full-time pulmonologist here in Rhinebeck. Dr. Marino comes over from Kingston a day every other week or so. There isn't, you've got a couple of family practice general internal medicine docs that are aging, will age out of their, and retire at some point in the near term. And so the biggest chunk of that, chunky the technical term, is the primary care physicians that are going to be needed. And there's a shortage of about 10 primary care physicians in the Northern Dutchess service area. Our hope is that we'll be able to attract new physicians to come into that building or to come into some of the practice. So for instance, right now, Dr. Kemp and Dr. Abbas, their practice is full. We'd like to be able to put 2 more physicians in that practice. There isn't space in that building to be able to put any more physicians in that practice. We'd like to recruit new physicians from outside of the community to come here and practice with them. So that's the intent of what we're trying to accomplish. Will there be some physicians that are going to be in the community that are in that building? Probably there will be, because they want to grow and expand, but they can't expand in their existing location. So they move here and then add additional physicians on top of that. And then they backfill the spaces where they came out of with other physicians in the community.
Last time you were here, and you were speaking from First Oak, I believe, they said that the only way this is a feasible project if you people pay taxes for the first 7 years. Is that still true?
Address that.
Sure.
But the only way this project can go, the only way this project can go forward at all is if the second and third floor are exempt from taxes. The ground floor is an issue of discussion. That's for the doctors. And there's one very key component that I don't know if our team has explained. The ground floor has done a few things if it goes back. The ground floor helps offset some of the infrastructure of the second and third floor. But absolutely most important, the second floor has to line up with the second floor of the existing hospital. The third floor has to line up with the existing OR suites on the third floor of the hospital. The ground floor is not needed for admin staff because we are going to be pulling program space out of the existing med-surg bed floor into the new private hospital room, okay? Ground floor is just an ideal spot to fill doctors in and to bring these healthcare professionals to the community. So it's a structural issue as far as lineup, and it helps offset.
So first floor exemption is not necessary for this project to go forward, but that's what I hear from you.
It's not necessary whether the project goes forward. Second and third floor, absolutely.
Any other questions?
One other thing I'd like to say, you know, obviously, articles in the paper are articles in the paper. As developers, and we develop a lot of medical space, and as you all know, because we've been funding it for other things, we develop real estate. We never pay taxes, real estate and school taxes, as developers. It always passes to the tenant, okay? So the concept of us getting a relief to try to draw new doctors in for the ground floor, that's what it was. It's not a savings to our company, it's not a savings for anything else as far as developers, it's not a profit, initiative. It is strictly to help us lease 25,000 square foot of ground floor, which is absolutely helping the hospital offset cost of the whole structure. I think that kind of go on.
Is there any other question? Not right now. All right.
They're two separate components. Think about it, discuss it. You have any
Well,
questions?
how I would like to comment, and Joe, you and I have talked about, we've had this conversation. The village, of course, is in a very, very tenuous situation right now. We're in the worst economy any of us in our lifetime have seen. Our income continues to fall, mortgage tax goes down, sales tax revenue goes down. We're in a very, very bad position right now financially because revenues decline. We all know what kind of economy we're in. It's very, very difficult for us to say we're going to offer a tax break to 100% of this project when, as you say, it's not really necessary for that first floor to go forward, right? We're looking probably at a 5 to 6% tax increase this year in our budget. We have to override the cap, we know that. We had to build a police station, we know our costs are going up, and our revenues are continuing to decline. So, the way this board is looking at it is that we don't think we're in a position to offer the first floor of the tax break. The second and third floor, we all understand the benefit that hospital brings to our community. We're very, very fortunate to have a medical facility of that quality, the quality of the physicians we have here. And everybody recognizes that. And we feel, I think, that we can support the hospital in its endeavor for the second and third floor. But, at this time, we don't really think we're in a position to offer it for the first floor. And I think the way we need to progress is in that direction, and that the two attorneys should get together and sit down and talk this over. And certainly, representatives from the village board can be involved in those discussions, and we need to try and move forward in that direction.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda, department reports. Wastewater, Brant.
March, slow month, we had 3.9 million gallons of wastewater treated, 80,600 gallons of sludge processed, 11,637 pounds of sludge processed, 21 cubic yards of sludge processed. The sludge press is going to be delivered on May 22nd, so the sludge press project will begin about 2 weeks after that. Just wanted to report that. I mistakenly said earlier that we had ordered the sludge press, but I didn't get the correct information. They wanted to get the shop runs before they ordered. So it's going to get in, scheduled to get in May 22nd. Second week in May, we're going to try to replace the underground storage tank with an above-ground storage tank. Ira Conklin is going to conduct the work, so we're going to try to get that out before the other project starts. And that's basically all I have to report right now.
Okay, thank you. Nice.
3 million gallons, 10,390,000 gallons last month. As I previously described, we need to paint the pipes in the pipe gallery at the water plant. There's much corrosion in this area that needs to be treated. There has been no major painting in a number of decades in this facility. To facilitate painting here, I asked the village engineer and the village attorney to prepare a bid package. That package needs to be published and available to the clerk by the 16th. And conversations with Rich, our attorney here, says the village board can authorize the proceeding pending Rich's final review of the bid documents, which you do in the next stage. So a motion here to go out for bid for painting the pipe gallery, the walls and the floor, and the selected pipes in the low lift station. A bid advertisement to the village clerk, and copies of the documents will be available from her by the 16th. So I place a motion to go out for bids on the payment.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So voted.
Water distribution system. South Parsonage main trunk line relocation is essentially completed. I had called to Wendy Kuhn today, and they plan next Tuesday that's on the 16th, to work blacktop and to concrete and clean up the area. I think they're also going to put soil and grass. We repaired a 6-inch broken water main line at 47 Violet Place last month, which caused also grief with 2 shut-off valves that broke while we tried to turn them off to replace the 6-inch line, and that was completed. We replaced the 1895 that we placed, and they were right next to the ones that we did that as well. We opened work on the 77th Street. For the continuous project, we replace 35 so far, and 8 more here. We just received 9 fire hydrants for the basement plant. They are stored in the facility. One other thing I'd like to mention is that we put a water meter in the town highway department.
So, all good? Okay, good.
That's for the day.
All right, thank you. Fire department, I do not have a report this month. Rick did not forward it along to me. We do have 1 new member to vote in. This is from Vice President of Rhinebeck Fire Department, Ken Scattergood. John McGuire is joining the Rhinebeck Fire Company as a firefighter, so I would make a motion to approve John McGuire as a firefighter. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So voted.
Okay, tree trimming over the sidewalk and roadside was completed this week. Mike had received a call about a potential bad tree at 16th Street, and he decided to take it down. It was taken down. The tree top was rotten and a threat to pedestrians and cars. Mike has called 3 tree companies for bids for future tree work. I'll get back to you on that. We haven't received the bids back yet. Mulch sales have started, and we have plenty of aged and ready-for-use mulch, and that is $20 a yard, very good price. Brush and yard debris pickup is underway, and pickup will be the first and third weeks of the month. So that's the first and third weeks of the month for brush and yard debris. And dirt, and out of the yard debris, no dirt, rocks, or painted wood and clippings will be picked up. So please do not try to stick them in with the other yard debris. Road repair was done with cold patching on the potholes. The street department made a repair list of all catch basins, and there are 35 basins in need of repair. Some of the lids are cracked and need to be replaced. Other basins are too low and need to be raised for blacktopping.
About that, all right?
Yep. Says the garbage truck needs work. Floor on the packer is worn with some holes in it. And one of the backhoes, the lift boom cylinder started leaking and was removed and sent out for repair. That's it for the street department. Well, these are 2 of the.
Get one more bid in.
Yeah, these are 2 of the bids.
All right, we're still waiting.
Yeah.
What about this overhead door? Was this a fire issue or was it fire department?
No.
This thing with the septic, we're already good on that, right?
Yeah.
We have a quote from again, we're trying to get 3 quotes for overhead doors
Yeah, that's right.
on the back of the firehouse here. We have 2, so we're waiting for a 3rd.
Right.
Which ones, they've only got one.
You had a Dutchess, you had a Dutchess one?
The ones that put the front ones in, yeah.
Okay. Police and court. Everybody has the incident, or I'm sorry, planning and zoning. Got anything, Brant? I just got Bob's report today, so I didn't get a chance to look at it. I told him I was going to help him out. I'm going to attempt to go down to the real estate office and talk about that.
Right, okay.
Right. And one day next week when I have time in the morning or something, I'll go down. I'm working day shift all week this week. So. Anything else?
No.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, it's on the assembly bill, but it's.
Okay, police and court, everybody has the incident report. Does anybody have any questions? If you do, you can ask Pete, he's right there. Pete, you got anything for us?
No, I don't. I'm just reading that from Wayne about the construction state.
All right, Wayne? What do you got for us, bud?
Good news. The construction process is coming to an end at the police station. Thank God, yeah, it's been a long road, and but fruitful. We have a really beautiful building over there. I think most of you had the opportunity to go through it. We have some, as with all these kinds of projects, coming to the end is a bit of a frenzied scenario. But basically, just to bring you up to date, the interior of the building, from a construction standpoint, is done. The fixtures are in from a construction standpoint. The trim is in. The lockers were delivered yesterday and were installed. The evidence locker is installed. The cabinetry is installed. The doors are installed. The trim is installed. The painters were there today doing some touch-up. They're going to have to come back again because we have some issues with our other primes, the electrical people, the HVAC people, and the plumbing people. And trying to coordinate all that and bring that all together right at this point is where we're at. So actually tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. we're having a coordination meeting with all the primes, and they will be all here, and we're going to try to put all of this in place. But basically, from an electric standpoint, we're really doing well. Our electrician has been on site most of the week. I was over there today and talked with him, and it appears, he said that 99% of his stuff will be done by the end of this week. There are a couple of light fixtures, I think one in the janitor's room that didn't come in yet. So we're going to put a temporary light in, but that's not going to hold us up from taking control of the building. The big issue that we have, that we're dealing with, is the HVAC people. We don't have a heat on in the building yet. The furnaces are installed, hot water heaters installed. They've been furiously working on the duct work in the basement and completing that. The gas lines, again, the coordination here is the problem, because the HVAC people can't get the furnaces running because the plumbing guys haven't installed the gas lines out to the exterior of the building, and obviously without propane, he can't fire the boilers. So that's where we are right now, and Phil, our Zemke, our architect, and myself have been very much involved with our primes, trying to get this all coordinated, and everybody is on board. The plumbing folks are supposedly going to be here tomorrow morning, and they are going to finish up getting the gas lines installed and out. And I'll talk to you a little bit about the propane scenario in just a second. And then the other issue that we have with the plumbing contractor is we have some fixtures that are not installed yet. I know the sink in the ladies' bathroom is an issue, and I found out this afternoon that that is not here. So not only do we have a coordination of getting this work completed, we have an issue of sometimes we don't have the material to get it completed. So again, we're working very furiously trying to put all this together. We're hoping that by the end of next week, we perhaps may be in a position, and we're working feverishly to have this happen. Quite frankly, I'm not all that against it's going to happen, but our target for us to go through the final inspection and have our building inspector, look at everything with a certificate of occupancy. We're hoping for next Friday. But a lot of things have to happen in order for that to happen, and I'm not totally apprehensive. I'm a little apprehensive that that's going to happen, but we're very, very close. As far as the exterior of the building is concerned, we're dealing with, we have the front porch that needs, the front porch steps and the front porch landing out to the sidewalk needs to be poured. That's going to be done this week. It's already framed, and the re-rod is in, and we're also going to remove a portion of the sidewalk on the east side of the building that had cracked over the winter. That's going to be taken out and re-poured. At the base freeze board around the bottom of the building, I don't know if that's been ongoing. They've been working on it all week. They got about half of it, I think, done. That will be done by the end of this week. The site work has been initiated. The equipment is here. They're working on the site work. Topsoil is going to be brought in tomorrow. The other issue is the paving. The paving plant is not going to open until the 15th, but we're already going to be ready for it. We had a meeting today with a couple of issues with the site in regard to parking spaces in the handicap area and the area on the Center Street side of the building in regard to bringing the paving around and where we're going to actually have lawn area. We got that all resolved. So the site work should be done this week. Obviously, the paving will not be done this week, but we will be prepared. And just wait for the paving. As soon as the plant opens, they're going to be ready to go. Briefly about the LP gas, I had two firms in to discuss the LP gas requirements. I had Freedom Gas, who presently services our needs for our generator here at this building. And they've been servicing our needs for quite some time. Quite frankly, they dropped the ball on this whole thing. And I had them here. We went through everything we needed. They never got back to me. So I went to another firm who has been wonderful dealing with us. So we made the decision to go with Botini. They have been great. They're going to provide the tanks at no cost. They're going to do the hookup at no cost. They're going to provide a new 500-gallon tank over where our two existing 100-gallon tanks are that we utilize now for this generator. We're going to tie in the emergency generator for the police station with this generator here and utilize the same 500-gallon tank of service comes with them. And they're going to put that in at no charge too, so, and do all the hookup. The generator, as you well know, is on order. It's not here yet. But again, that is not going to prohibit us from actually moving in. I know Peter can give you a little bit more information. He's already started to plan the move process, which is going to be substantial. And then the other issue is once we have got the heat on and everything is cleaned up inside, then we have to bring the security folks in to finish up getting all the fixtures. Everything's wired, but they have to just put in the finishing touches on all the security stuff, phone people, and then NICOM has to come in and look up the tower. In essence, we're really in a good position, but trying to get all this stuff to come together, coordination of all these people, it's a kind of a monumental task. But Phil's been doing a great job.
You're a man for the job.
We've been here almost every single day. It's a lot of times for a lot of hours. But we're on it. We're pushing hard. And quite frankly, I think realistically, we're probably looking at somewhere in and around 26, 27, where we're actually going to probably take control of this building. And I think that's somewhat realistic.
But I want to personally thank you for doing this job, because you wouldn't have found that.
It's my pleasure. So,
Nice job.
well, Grant deserves a lot of credit too, because he was very instrumental in getting this whole thing started and did a huge amount of work. And he's been very helpful to me through this whole process, and it's been rewarding. And we're going to have a really wonderful facility when we're done with this thing. I think we really did a good job planning it. I don't know if you folks have heard, but I have heard an incredible amount of great comments from the public. The building looks great. Everybody's happy. The neighbors are happy. I think we did a good job.
Hope they're happy when they get back.
Yeah, well, that's the other issue. So has anybody got any questions? I don't know if anybody's available tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, but this should be a fairly interesting meeting.
Yeah, and they come.
I'm working, sorry.
Okay. So we'll
Are we gonna have any ground left for a little tree, like a little shrub?
yeah, you know, that's funny that you asked that, because we had a little site issue today, and actually I had spoken to the mayor about it last evening, because I just wanted a little bit of input before. But basically, if you're looking at the building towards the entry on the right-hand corner, you really didn't even realize this until you went and looked at it, but the sidewalk actually stops before the driveway comes out. So when we started the site work and we were trying to figure out what we were going to do there, the first thing, of course, our general contractor wanted to do was, extend the sidewalk, which meant obviously considerable amount of money. So Phil and I went there today and we talked about it. And the plan that we came up with, we're actually going to have probably about a 12 by 18 section of lawn right at that corner, and we're actually going to curve the paving where the last, it's kind of hard to explain, but at the end of the paved parking area, there's a handicap spot, and then there was a striped area so people can get in and out of the car, obviously, to enhance the handicap parking. So we decided to leave that lawn area alone, and we just curved around and met our existing sidewalk. So we're going to have an area there, and we talked today about, we really don't, at this point, we don't have a sign. We obviously don't have some kind of signage. And I thought perhaps that would be a great area to put a post and a hanging sign, not anything substantial, but we need to obviously direct the public that this is our police station.
Pete and I had talked a little bit about it, I'll share some thoughts with you.
Yeah, and it's a nice area where we could have some shrubbery, and around the sign post. So I think it's going to be real aesthetically pleasing in the front of the building.
We have a tree planting on April 20th. We'll stop by and put a tree there for you?
No, I don't think that's a good area for
Oh,
trim.
okay.
But thank you anyway for the order.
Okay, you're welcome.
The other, I just briefly want to tell you, the handicap scenario, because we have a sidewalk that actually comes along that side of the building, on the north side of the building, that sidewalk extends all the way across there, and the handicap parking, we have to have signage there. So the choice was to put a sign in the sidewalk, because the sidewalk is going to butt the paved area, which quite frankly I didn't think was a good idea. So the sign is actually going to be, the handicap sign for that parking space is going to be on the building. It was really the only smart thing to do. If we put a sign in the sidewalk, people will be running into it, knocking it over. But I mean, that's a, it's not a big deal, but just to mention it. Anybody got any questions?
Thanks, Wayne.
My pleasure.
Good job.
Thanks.
Okay, next item is dog report. This is the dog report for the month of February. No dog pickups for the month of February. Complaint calls about barking dogs and running dogs at large. There were a few. He handed out some warnings. There were no charges made. Some dogs were lost, but the pets were found their way home with the help of some good neighbors, friends. The Rhinebeck Police Department is a great backup to me as well. They have always been there for me. Roger Newkirk. Next item is tree commission. Howie, what do you got?
Okay, I sent everybody the minutes of the tree meeting we had. I have a synopsis that Cecily had sent out Monday, so I also sent that to you, just kind of highlights the points of the tree minutes here. Most important thing is we're having a tree planting on Saturday, April 20th. We're looking for volunteers. We're going to plant 23 trees. The meeting point is going to be at the cemetery, as we're going to be planting 10 trees at the cemetery along Route 9, up on the top of the wall there. So if anybody's interested in coming to help us out, they can park at the Legion Park and walk up to the cemetery. No experience is necessary. Volunteers should bring a shovel and dress for the weather. Because of this planning, Rhinebeck Village's Arbor Day is going to be set for April 20th. It's usually April 26th in New York State. So I have a proclamation for Mayor Reardon to read and sign. This is a requirement for Tree City, which we maintain every year. We've been maintaining for I think it's 3 years now, Tree City status. We have a resignation. Jason Heimink has resigned due to his schedule and his inability to make the meeting. So we have an opening on the tree commission, village resident. So we're looking for somebody who's interested in trees and landscaping. And you may call Lisa at 876-7015. The tree commission is working to prune around the village, and it's important for the young trees to get a good start. We had one request that a tree be removed at 17 Manor, and the tree commission recommends against this tree removal because the tree is very healthy. And we recommended the village prune, but with the understanding that there's a considerable wait for pruning to be done. That's from Cecily Frazier. So I have this proclamation I would like the mayor to read.
Oh, come on.
Cut it down to size.
Okay. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, James Reardon, Mayor of the Village of Rhinebeck, do proclaim April 20th, Arbor Day in the Village of Rhinebeck, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Dated this 20th day of April, 2013. Okay, thank you. You're welcome. I can make a list of it's not city, right?
I'd just like to make a note that Cecily Frazier, the chairwoman of the Tree Commission, is actually a Nebraska native, and she's proud of that. Where the first Arbor Day was sanctioned. Yeah. Yeah, that's it for the Tree Commission. Any questions on the minutes? No. Everything's okay?
Yeah.
Good.
Website? Anybody got anything on website?
No.
Finance and controls?
No.
Other business? Anybody from the public? Come on up to the microphone, please.
My name's Nina Lynch. I live up in the woods, in the woods condominium.
Oh, you don't live in the woods.
I wanted to both attend your meeting and let all of you know that there's a new organization in town. Some of you may have seen something about it. We call it Rhinebeck at Home. It's part of a movement in this country to kind of take hold of aging and neighbors help neighbors stay in their homes and stay independent as long as we can. And we're actually going to launch our little organization on the 9th of May at the Beekman Arms, and I have invitations for you all. I hope you'll join us. It's a very special kind of undertaking. We're going to do it all volunteer. The hospital has offered us a space for our office, and we're interviewing folks now, and we're going to have, to the extent possible, all of our members help each other so that we are all in the game together, and look forward to having it grow Rhinebeck. And if we're really fortunate here in Northern Dutchess, maybe even spread out to the neighboring communities. So
Okay.
I wanted you all
Great.
to know about it, and I hope you'll follow us, and please join us on the 9th of May. One of your former constituents or friends, partners here, Terry, is going to be our speaker that day. We're
Okay.
excited about that.
We'll have to go so we can see Terry. We never see him anymore.
I know, yeah. Can I give you these?
Sure.
All right.
Thank you.
Personalized, huh?
Personalized,
Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you. And this, that's not good, so.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public? Wayne, you got something?
Yeah, I forgot two things. Is there anything?
Well,
Sorry.
back up.
Sorry, there's two issues that I just want to make the board aware of. And, one of them you need to deal with, the other one, well, we have to deal with both. But, first of all, the insurance on the building. As you well recall, probably, when we initiated construction, we had a builder's risk policy in the amount of bond that is covering the construction and any liability during the construction process. But as we come closer now to actually taking control of the building, we need to switch the builder's risk over to our existing policy. So I met with Fairleigh Raycow last week and went over the whole program, and we went through the amount of insurance in regard to the building itself, and there were some questions in regard to the business property insurance, but I spoke with Pete, and we came up with a number of the additional business property that we're going to put in the building that we don't already have insurance on in our existing facility. So I've given all that information to Fairleigh Breakout, and they have everything ready, so it's just a matter of, they only need 1 day to bind. So I just want you to know that that's taken care of. And then the other issue that the board is going to need to address is that, as you recall, when we got the trailer, we needed a handicap ramp, which we purchased and is now there. And now that we're going to move into this new building, that we're no longer going to need that handicap ramp. So the board is going to need to do, I don't know whether you want to just sell it. It costs us $7,000. So that's an issue that we're going to have to, I mean, it's got to obviously be taken down and stored somewhere, but at some point, we're going to need either.
You're going to have to take it out to Highway Rush.
Yeah. I don't know of any other, I don't know if the town can use it, I don't know if anybody in the community could possibly use it. It's an issue that
We'll have to advertise it to bid.
Okay.
They have a number of items that we've done with Minnesota too, like huge motors.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Wayne. Okay. As I had mentioned earlier, we received a letter of resignation from Carroll Mill Zoning Board. So there is an opening for that. If anybody's interested in volunteering, please drop off a letter of interest to Lisa in the village clerk's office. And we received a letter from the Varsity Swim Team Booster Club, and dear village board members, Rhinebeck High School Varsity Swim Team Booster Club would like to request the use of 2 of the village streets for their first annual coin drop fund drive to get some much needed funding behind this new athletic team. Our event is scheduled for October 19th and 20th. We will have the drop locations on Route 9 in front of the M&T Bank, as well as on East Market Street in front of the municipal parking lot. The event will run from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. each day. Did you check the calendar, Lisa? It's open. Okay. I'll just verify with Pete. So contingent upon Pete's approval, we'll check the schedule and see if it's okay. You guys fine with it?
Yeah, it doesn't conflict with the other.
And your motion to approve? I need a motion. I make a motion to approve the coin drop. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? So voted. My only question is where we're going to be as far as that half marathon.
That's what I was
Should be
wondering.
right around that time,
Yeah.
so we'll check that. Half marathon or sheep and wall. So there might be a concern. Okay, next one is from the Lions Club, and they want to use do their coin drop. And it will be on the 4th and 5th of May, which is car show weekend. They annually do this one. Same thing, Route 9 in front of M&T Bank, and they go in front of Stickles on East Market Street. 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. each day. Need a motion to approve?
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Is there a second? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? So voted. Calendar's going to fill up quick. Okay, Chamber of Commerce for sidewalk sale. We're not going to do one in May?
Yes, that one maybe.
Oh, I got August 1st? Okay. All right, Chamber of Commerce sidewalk sales, 2 of them, May 17th through 19th, and August 16th through 18th. Need a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So voted. Okay, letter from David Miller. David Miller wants to be the Canada representative, and we have already put him in the appointments, so that's all taken care of. We're not doing anything on that, right?
No.
Okay. That's all I have. Anybody have anything else?
No.
Okay. Water and sewer adjustments, Heinz?
I don't know, can't talk to him this week.
Do what?
I can talk to them today, after the Friday.
Okay. All right, and vouchers are downstairs to be signed, and I need a motion to adjourn, please.
Move to adjourn.
Second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So voted. Wow, hey, after 8.